Hey folks, welcome back to the Portable Gamer. Welcome back to European Truck Simulator 2, and welcome back to Orleans. And we're headed to Reims. We're headed home. Finally, after what, a year and a half? We'll talk about that. Right. So we're gonna hop in here. We're in our Renault T with our Pink Ribbon DLC livery. Here we go. Let's fire up. So we got that. Lights on. Yeah, lights on. There we go. It is raining. I don't know what to do about it. I'm truly at a loss. We have the rain probability turned down. We got it turned down. I just don't, I don't get it. How do we get out of here? This way. It's this way in ATS as well. Brake is off. Here we go. Yeah, it's a bit of a mystery. I don't know. I guess it's just going to rain all the time. I can test, I can experiment and see what happens when we turn it to 0. Maybe when you turn it to 0, it only rains a little bit, right? Like 0 doesn't mean 0. 0 means 1. I don't know. But, so, camera's moving. There it is. So yeah, man, we're headed back to Reims. I know we've been to Reims since I started the channel. I think we've got bumped back there a couple times and had to start over and various things with game patches to new versions and etc, but I feel like this is the first time we've made our full circumnavigation of continental Europe that we wanted to make, which did include UK and Ireland. Right, turn signal. Find a good gear here. Yeah, because we've got two firsts. We got regular first and we got low first. But there's no indication of the difference between the two. It just says 1 and 2. Alright, so we go here. We go here. Did we hook? I don't think we did. I hope we didn't. Okay. We're rolling. So we go here. Turn signal off. Through here. Beautiful. So yeah, man. Headed back to Reims and then from there, I don't know. Do we want to relocate? Do we want to have a new headquarters in Rotterdam, Europort? I sort of do. I sort of don't. The idea of skinning a bunch of trucks and trailers, honestly, it intimidates me because I can't skin anymore. I feel like our skinning tools are not what they used to be. How are we doing on fuel? We're actually pretty low. Yeah, let's fuel up here. And we're going to need to sleep as well on this trip. We have, I believe, 18 hours to get there. It's a 4-hour trip, and we're going to need to sleep in about 3 hours. So we'll sleep as it gets dark. Right here. We'll sleep as it gets dark, and then we'll finish in the morning, and hopefully we'll be on time. Although, we have so much money, it doesn't matter. And I kind of don't like that. But you know what? That ties in with what I wanted to talk about. This is perfect. Synchronicity. Full circle. Right, so we'll go right in here. Beautiful. Stop here. Wipers off. Off, I say. Set the brake. Lights off. Engine off. Let's fill up. So yeah, I was thinking about balance. I've really been thinking about balance, and what has me thinking about it is Farm Sim. Playing Farm Sim with seasons, it's got me thinking about balance. And what an odd concept balance is in gaming. Because we're all different, right? Everybody's different. Everybody's got their own idea of what a game should be. Right? And there are difficulty adjustments. There are settings for gameplay. Things like the rain probability. You can set the rain probability to whatever you want. If you want it to rain all the time, you can make it rain. Not make it rain. You can make it rain. Always raining. I assume, you know, I was kind of joking earlier, but I assume if we slid that all the way to the left, that we could make it never rain. So there's always adjustability in things like that. You know, as far as tuning the game a little bit to your personal style and your personal taste. But in a broad sense, a game is sort of fixed in its mood and its vibe. I don't know, whatever you want to describe it as. The game is it is what it is, and so it's amazing to me that developers can craft games that people get. And I don't mean get like buy. I mean people get it. They get it. You make a game and people get it, and it's, for an artist, for a developer, for a filmmaker, for anybody who makes something for public consumption, it's always tricky. You got to strike this balance. And I'm not talking about myself here. I'm talking about like serious creative people, big timers. That, you make something and you get feedback from your audience. And on the one hand, you can't always be just, jumping through hoops and doing whatever your audience tells you they want you to do. And on the other hand, you can't make a product, make a creative thing, right? And then you give it to your audience, they say, no, it sucks. And you say, well, you just don't get it, right? You are dumb. You don't get what I did. It's got to be kind of a combination of those two. It's got to be balanced, right? So certainly you listen to feedback from your audience, but at the same time, you as a creative person or as a studio or as a filmmaker or whatever, you've got a creative vision as well. Like, no, this is how I want to do it. This is how I want it to look, or this is how I want it to work. And so each side is pushing on the other, perhaps. It's a good way to say it. The audience is pushing on the creator to make something that they like, and the creator is challenging the audience a little bit to like what they've made for them. I think I said that right. And so it amazes me that something like a video game works for so many different kinds of people, because people are so different one from another. They really are. And yet some games just resonate in ways that, I don't know. I'm not talking about like touching our common humanity. That overstates it a bit. But it's in the neighborhood, because I think there are things that work for everybody, or almost everybody. And if you can incorporate those into your game or whatever, yeah, it's going to resonate with people. But then there's more subtle stuff. There's the minutia, the esoteric stuff. And that's, I think, a lot trickier. It's trickier to get it right. Sir? Yeah. I need a little cooperation from my fellow truckers when I'm entering a freeway. So yeah, it really is, it's amazing to me that these games, that I like this game for whatever reasons, and somebody else may like it for entirely different reasons, but we both like it. And I think a lot of what it comes down to is balance. So, get rolling here. Oh, there's the first yawn. Okay, so we are going to sleep, but it's okay because it is about to get dark. And then we'll finish in the morning and take this the rest of the way into Reims. So I mean, you look at something like the Transformers movies, right? First Transformers movie, awesome, loved it. How cool, right? These toys that we played with when we were kids, like, come to life, and you got giant fighting robots, and that's so cool. First one, very cool. Second one, I don't know, maybe not quite as cool. Not quite as super cool as that first one. Third one, oi, Transformers can turn into people now. All right, when did that talent become a thing? Why weren't they doing that all along? Fourth one, oh, what the hell? And then the fifth one, it's like, okay, you just got to stop now. You really got to stop. They lost their balance. They lost their ability to create a product that resonated with people. And you think, how could they, right? Because I see a bed up here just past the toll gate. So let's stop here. How could they lose that balance, right? Because they had so many things going for them. They got the budget, first off. They got hundreds of millions of dollars to make these movies. It's like the sky is the limit. You can do whatever you want. They've got, where is our, I think it's just past the gate. I don't want to miss it. So we're going through this one. that's a red X. So we got to go through this one, and then we're making a hard right. Ah, but there's a truck there. Are we going to be able to find a spot? We'll see. We got the budget, right? That's key. Money is it's important in this life. And if you got the money to make your movie proper, that's a step in the right direction. They had the money. They had the name recognition, right? Everybody knows the Transformers franchise. You're good to go there as well. Certainly access to talented filmmakers, quality filmmakers, right? Good actors, good writers, right? You got everything. And you got Michael Bay, who certainly knows how to make a popular film. I'm sure he'd be willing to, lend a hand. He was an executive producer, even on the bad ones, was he not? Carefully. You get it? We got it, just barely. Okay, so we're going to shift down to neutral, set the brake, wipers off, parking lights on, engine off. Let's sleep through the night, see how we do. There we are, 5 a.m. Beautiful, still raining. Imagine that. Oh, game. I love you. All right, brake is off. Let's turn this off as well. Put it in gear, here we go. So you look at something like that. You look at something, or I look at something like the Transformers franchise, and it's like, man, how do you go off the rails like that? You had truly all the tools that you need to make a successful movie film, right? You had it all. How do you do that? Or did they just push it too far? I don't know. I mean, times change, people change, audiences change. Sometimes people just get sick of things. I don't know. But initially, I feel like the movie had that balance. And I think I know games are the same way. Some games, they just seem to, I don't know, they just work. And that's amazing to me because, like I said earlier, there's just so many different kinds of people. And to be able to take your idea of what a video game should be, make it real, put it out there, and have people look at it and say, yeah, man, yeah, I get it. That works for me. I'm feeling ya. That is such a cool thing. Pause. Loading a tile. I had a game crash in ETS. Not last week, week before. And I have not had a game crash in either of these truck sims for the longest time. It really kind of rattled me. It took me by surprise because it's been so long since we've had a game crash. But I remember loading tiles in the game was crashing constantly, so anytime I get a slow tile to load, I get a flashback to the rotten days. Rotten. That was probably a mod conflict. So yeah, and now this is another thing that we have to talk about. When we get to Reims, if we go to Rotterdam, I am seriously considering timing a new profile with the release of Road to the Black Sea and what I assume will be 1.36, the 1.36 patch, and taking out all of my mods, right? Just running base trucks, which is all you really need when you start anyway, because you don't have very much else. And I've never started in a Pro Mod City. I've never made Pro Mod City my home garage. I've always had it on base map. So if we were to start base map with all the DLC and just in a plain Jane, right, just a white truck with a little tiny motor, 4x2, the whole deal. If we were to start that way, it would be a few episodes before we had enough money to do anything anyway, and in that time we could then gradually bring in mods, right? But we'd have a clean profile, because when you look, I don't know if you ever look at your crash log or your game file, your game log, but if you've ever had a mod conflict, or if you ever, let's say you try RustMap, right? You load RustMap in a profile. You don't care for it, you take it out. It keeps all the RustMap cities in there, and your game file, your log can end up extremely cluttered, and you can end up with a lot of stuff in there that really just does nothing but cause trouble. And I have that. Now the game runs for me, and it's stable, and all my mods are up and running, and everything's cool, but all that clutter is still in my game log, because all that clutter still tries to load every time I boot the game. So if we started a clean profile, we would get rid of all that, right? We wouldn't have to deal with any of that. So, tile. So that is a possibility as well, that we go to a new city with new trucks, a new profile, new everything. We could do that. The only thing, like I said, the only thing that's really kind of giving me pause is the skins, because I need to come up with a kind of a Dutch look and feel for the portable gamer, and also skin all these trucks again. Now, if we're bringing trucks in one at a time, we can do that. And the other thing we can do is, I've thought about this as well. Just pick one truck, and that is our truck that we drive everywhere. And for that to work, I think we would need to start, well, obviously you start small when you start a new profile, but I think we would need to build that truck up to an appropriate whatever, and then more or less leave it there, right? So we built that ridiculous €500,000 Scania Longline. I don't know that we would ever build a truck up to that if it was going to be the only truck that we ever drive, because that truck is kind of a pain in the ass to drive in tight cities. But then the flip side to that is a 4x2 is not necessarily great for hauling those massive trailers in Scandinavia, right? So I guess we probably land somewhere in the middle, like a 6x4. If we're in Holland, go with DAF, right? So then the question becomes, do we buy and build one DAF and build and buy one trailer for it, skin the two of them, and then that's it? That's the only truck we drive for our whole next loop of Europe, right? I'm not opposed to it. There's certainly an appeal to that. And I know, like in race sims, my favorite car to drive is the AMG GT3. I could drive that car exclusively, like as many cars as I have access to in all my different race sims. If I had to pick one and I couldn't drive anything else, I would obviously go with the AMG GT3, and I don't think I would be terribly put off by that. I love that car. So I do like driving trucks to bring some variety to the channel. Driving different trucks, I mean. I do like switching it up to bring some variety to the channel, but I don't have to do that. I'm content to just go with one truck, and I would have no problem going with the DAF. I've got a couple of tuning packs for it so we can accessorize nicely. In fact, end of this episode, we'll take a look in the garage. We'll just quickly peek at the DAF that we have now. I don't mind it. And I've got some engine options. I've got some ghost pipe sound mods, so we got a nice sound for it. So yeah, that's a possibility as well. And if that's the case, I would only need to skin one truck and one trailer. So we'll see. But when and if we go to Scandinavia, I do like hauling those massive trailers in Scandinavia, so we would need those as well. And maybe a little city trailer for when we get into well, whatever. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. But I guess what I'm getting at is that is a possibility as well. And then that takes away needing to skin, a dozen different trucks. So we'll see. But we'll have to decide that. I guess let's maybe do some special transport jobs and kind of stall for a couple weeks until Road to the Black Sea and 1.36 comes out. I assume. I keep saying 1.36 like I know. I don't know. I assume 1.36 will come with Road to the Black Sea on ETS and with Utah on ATS, but I don't know that. It's just always been that way in the past. Has it not? Yeah, I think for the most part they release a patch when they release a map DLC. Not for something like the Mercedes Actros tuning pack. That didn't warrant its own patch, but I feel like every time they... There we are. Every time they add to the map, every time they add a regional DLC, there's a patch. So I assume that'll happen this time as well. But, I don't know. Yeah, I think more than anything else, I just want to clean out my mod folder. almost everything that I'm running now is via the Steam Workshop. The only stuff that I have in my mod folder is Pro Mods. Let me see, I got a couple trucks in there. The Madster, M-A-N, I believe, is not Workshop supported. The Jazzy Cat packs, and then the Grimes? The Grimes mods for Frosty and like autumn weather and things like that. So I'll update those as they update to 1.36 because I do like the idea of driving in the winter when it's winter. Even though where I am in the world, it never really gets to be winter here. It's always, I mean, I'm not in the deep south, but the winters here are very mild. So it's never going to be, you know, feet of snow on the ground and cold and snowy and icy. But I still like the idea of driving in the winter when it's winter, even if it's not winter where I am. So I'll download those Grimes packs. But other than that, my mod folder is empty. I just need to, as I said, get all the crud out of my profile. All the stuff that tries to load when I load up. And what happens is it tries to load, it doesn't find it, and it just, some of it lists as an error in your log. Other stuff it just says, you know, look for it, didn't find it, moving on. But it's still looking for it. So any type of potential conflict like that, I'm happy to get rid of. TBD. I don't even know when Road to the Black Sea is coming. I thought it would be here months ago. What do I know? So, I think, yeah, I think we're here. I think this is Reims. Well, delivery very soon, man. I'm hustling. I'm right here. I think we really are just like right around the bend here. Yeah, I hope so. So full circle, one loop of Europe, continental Europe, plus UK and Ireland. I did not, when I started that first video, my very first video on the channel was an ETS video. It's terrible. Oh man. I leave it up, keep myself humble, but yeah. But that was my very first video. And we were in Trinity, I believe, in the Channel Islands. I think that's the name of the town. And I had no idea what I was doing. I still don't. I had no idea where the channels are going to go. I just like making these videos. But yeah, here we are. After deciding to make a loop around Europe. Oh, don't hit the fence. We actually did it. That guy's looking a little grim. Got his little high and tight haircut. Alright. Keeping an eye on you. What else is going on? That's it. That's it. Everything that's going on in gaming, I think I covered in an ATS video a couple days ago. So I got nothing new. Plus, we're in that lull. I think we're in a lull. I don't know. I mean, I have no proof of that, but it certainly feels like a lull. Through here. Through here. Yep, I think this is Reims. It is fantastic. Oh. You know, in a way, it is kind of a relief, too. Which is weird. Well, there's that balance thing again. It's weird that this is all just made up. It's all elective, you know? It's not even real. It's a game. And yet you still get that feeling of satisfaction. And it's dopamine. It's all about dopamine. Anything you do that makes you feel good, that's your brain releasing dopamine. I got some ideas about that from an evolutionary standpoint. Why certain things cause our brain to release dopamine. Because from an evolutionary standpoint, that is nature trying to tell you, yes, this is a good thing, this works for you, right? Why else would the dopamine really, essentially when dopamine releases, that's your body telling you what you just did, it's good for us from an evolutionary point of view. So something like completing a job, right? Okay, that is nature and your brain keeping you motivated. Because back in the day, 250,000 years ago, 1,000,000 years ago, when we were just becoming human, we needed encouragement to do things. You know, if you've ever looked at a big pile of wood, I don't know if you've ever cut and stacked wood, firewood. But you look at a big pile of firewood, feels really good. It feels really good to know that you cut and stacked firewood. Well, it's not the most fun you can have, and yet being done feels so good. When you look at it, it's just, it's a great feeling. Why would that be? Well, because surplus is how you survive. Right? The more stuff you have to make it through the winter from back in the day. We turn it in here. This is the only turn. Ah, but not the first one, the second one. Not in there, but in here? I don't feel good about this. Nope, we got it right. Yeah, whatever it is that you're accumulating, that's going to keep you alive. And so dopamine, in that context, that's our body's way of encouraging us, making us get out of bed in the morning, making us want to stack firewood because we know it'll feel good when we're done.
It was a nice ride.
But that's the near-term reward that we need, because the long-term reward, staying alive, won't come into effect for months and months and months. So we have a little bump, a little boost. So something like getting a job delivered or making a complete loop around Europe feels good. You get that little bump of dopamine. And I think, where's our slot? Oh, did we come at it from the wrong side? Oh, there it is. Oh, okay, we can just pull right in. Fantastic. I believe the reason these things feel good to us is because finishing a task, completing a job, doing something right, that's the kind of stuff that used to keep us alive back in the day. Back when we were just primitive and sorting it all out. Alright, so we pull right in here. And how are we doing on time? 27 minutes. I kind of wanted to drive back to the garage, fully full circle, but I'm not going to do that because we're out of time. So, lights off, wipers off, and like so. Engine is off. Let's pivot around here and unload and see how we did. Barely on time. Down here, made some money. And we're working our way up to... Whoa, I didn't want that. Working our way up to level 36. Folks, thanks for stopping back to check out The Portable Gamer. Thanks for joining us for another episode of European Truck Simulator 2. We'll see you next time. Take care now.